There's a software engineer named Kevin in Austin who has received 11 raises in 14 years. He started at $54,000 straight out of college. He earns $131,000 today. He has been promoted 3 times, voluntarily changed jobs twice for better compensation packages, and has never once been passed over for a merit increase. By every external measure, Kevin is a financial success story. A person doing exactly what you are supposed to do. Advancing, growing, earning more every few years the way the system promises you will if you perform. Kevin's net worth at 36 years old is $34,000. He has $19,000 in a 401k, $11,000 in a checking account that never seems to drop below a certain floor, but never seems to rise above it either, and $4,000 in a savings account he has not added to since 2022. He carries $6,800 in credit card debt that has been there in various forms since he was 28. Every single time Kevin got a raise, he spent it. Not recklessly, not on anything outrageous. He just spent it, the way people spend money when their life expands to meet their income. The way everyone around them is also spending. The way the entire consumer economy is engineered to ensure happens within 90 days of every compensation increase a person receives. Kevin has earned $1,240,000 in gross income over the last 14 years. He has kept $34,000 of it. The rest passed through him on its way to everyone else. The academic term for what happened to Kevin is lifestyle inflation. The lived experience is considerably more invisible than the term suggests. A 2025 Empower research study found that 65% of Americans report their monthly expenses have risen in direct proportion to every significant income increase they have experienced over the past decade. A separate analysis by Clarify Capital found that households earning between $100,000 and $150,000 carry average monthly discretionary spending that leaves less than 7% of gross income available for savings and investment, nearly identical to the savings rate of households earning $50,000 to $75,000. The income doubled. The savings rate did not move. This pattern repeats across every income bracket examined. People earning $200,000 report the same subjective financial stress as people earning $80,000. People earning $80,000 report the same stress as people earning $40,000. Income rises. The feeling of financial security does not follow. And the reason, the specific mechanistic reason, is that every raise a person receives triggers an almost automatic expansion of their cost structure that consumes the raise before it can accumulate into anything durable. Here is the reframe that turns this entire pattern on its head. Your income is not the variable that determines your financial future. Your savings rate is. These feel like the same thing. They are not. A person earning $60,000 and saving 25% of it is building more wealth than a person earning $130,000 and saving 4% of it. Not eventually, from year one. And the gap between those two trajectories compounds every single year in the favor of the person with the lower income and the higher savings rate, until the math becomes genuinely difficult to look at. The number on your offer letter does not determine where you end up. The percentage of that number you keep determines everything, and that percentage is something you control entirely, in a way that the offer letter itself is not. Let me show you the mechanism, because this is more precise than a general warning about spending too much. When a person receives a raise, a predictable sequence of events follows. The sequence is not universal, but it is common enough that behavioral economists have documented it across dozens of studies, with enough consistency to call it a pattern. In the first month after a raise takes effect, the net pay increase is typically absorbed into the existing cost structure. It simply reduces the low-grade financial friction that most people carry. The credit card balance gets paid down a little faster. The checking account feels marginally more comfortable. Nothing changes visibly. By month 2 or 3, the new net pay begins to feel normal. The prior friction is gone, and a subtle but powerful psychological shift occurs. The person begins to experience their new income as the baseline, rather than the increase. Behavioral economists call this hedonic adaptation, the human tendency to rapidly normalize changes in circumstance, both positive and negative, returning to a near constant baseline of subjective experience, regardless of what changed. The raise that felt significant in month 1 feels ordinary by month 4. And ordinary, in consumer economic terms, means there is room for more. The spending that follows is almost never one large, dramatic decision. That is what makes it so difficult to intercept. It is a lease upgrade on the car, because the payment is now manageable with the new income. It is a nicer apartment in a better neighborhood, because you have been underpaying for your quality of life relative to your peers, and this income level justifies it. It is the gym membership, the meal kit delivery, the upgraded phone plan, the weekend trips that were previously implausible, the restaurant category that quietly shifts from occasional to routine. Each individual decision is defensible. The combined effect is that within 6 to 9 months of a meaningful raise, most households have constructed a new fixed and semi-fixed cost structure that absorbs the entire increase and then slightly exceeds it. The raise is gone. The bills are higher. The savings rate is the same or lower, and the process resets, waiting for the next raise to do it again. Now put 2 people next to each other and follow them for 20 years, because the divergence that emerges is one of the most striking in personal finance. Meet Stephanie and Vanessa, both 28. Both just received promotions that took their salaries from $68,000 to $84,000, a $16,000 gross increase, approximately $950 net per month after taxes. Both are thoughtful, educated, genuinely engaged with the idea of financial responsibility. Stephanie does what feels natural. She moves to a nicer apartment, $300 more per month than her current one, but it is closer to work and has the parking she has wanted. She starts leasing a car she actually likes rather than the one she could merely afford, $280 more per month. She upgrades her gym. She starts saying yes to the ski trips her friend group has been taking without her for 2 years. She feels, for the first time since graduating, like she is living a life that matches her income. Her spending increases by approximately $900 per month within a year of the promotion. She saves the remaining $50 per month increase and pats herself on the back for not spending it all. Her savings rate stays at approximately 6% of gross income. Vanessa does something different. When the raise hits, she waits 30 days before changing anything. She does not move, does not upgrade her car, does not renegotiate any subscription or service. At the 30-day mark, she redirects $800 of the $950 net increase directly into her Roth IRA and a taxable brokerage account via automatic transfer on the day after payday. She allows herself $150 per month of lifestyle expansion, the nicer grocery store, the occasional dinner that wasn't in the previous budget. Her cost of living rises imperceptibly. Her savings rate jumps from 6% to 18% of gross income. She has done nothing heroic. She has made one decision once and automated it so it never requires willpower again. Now watch what happens over 20 years at 8% annual returns. Stephanie, consistently saving 6% of a rising income, has approximately $287,000 at 48. She has also received 5 more raises in those 20 years, each of which she absorbed the same way she absorbed the first one. Her income at 48 is $143,000. Her lifestyle costs $137,000 per year to maintain. She feels successful and slightly behind simultaneously, a feeling she cannot fully explain because the income looks impressive from the outside. Vanessa, consistently saving 18% across the same income trajectory, has approximately $863,000 at 48. Her income at 48 is also $143,000. Her lifestyle costs $96,000 per year to maintain. She has $47,000 more per year in discretionary margin than Stephanie. She is 3 years from coast fire, the point at which her portfolio will compound to her retirement target without another dollar of contribution. The gap between them is not $576,000. The gap between them is the rest of their financial lives. Same career, same raises, same industry. One decision, made once, repeated automatically. The math inside this is straightforward. The behavior is where almost everyone loses. And the reason the behavior is hard is not laziness or irresponsibility. It is something considerably more fundamental. Human beings are hardwired for social comparison in ways that operating in a vacuum of individual rational decision-making cannot fully override. When Stephanie moves to a better apartment, she is not simply acquiring shelter. She is signaling membership in a peer group that her new income makes accessible. When she takes the ski trip, she is cementing a social identity that the old income bracket excluded her from. These are not trivial motivations. They are deeply biological. The research on social comparison and spending, particularly from Cornell University psychologist Robert Frank, shows that relative consumption, how your lifestyle compares to the people immediately around you, has a stronger influence on spending decisions than absolute income levels across virtually every income bracket studied. You do not spend based on what you earn. You spend based on what the people whose respect and company you want are spending. And those people are constantly updating their own consumption to match their own new incomes, which means the benchmark never stops moving. This is the treadmill that no raise ever wins, because the raise and the benchmark are rising together. The fix is not austerity. That is the prescription that sounds correct and fails consistently in practice, because it asks humans to override a biological drive, using willpower as the primary tool. And willpower is exhaustible in ways that automatic systems are not. The fix is structural. It happens before the money touches your life in any experiential sense. It happens in the 30 days immediately following a compensation increase, when the new income is visible on paper, but the lifestyle has not yet expanded to fill it. That window, 30 to 60 days post-raise, is the only moment when saving the increase costs you nothing psychologically, because you have not yet adapted to it as your baseline. Every day you wait past 60 days, hedonic adaptation closes the window a little further, until by month 4, the money feels spent even when it technically hasn't been yet. The 30-day rule is the entire intervention. When you receive a raise, increase your automatic investment contributions by 70 to 80% of the net increase before the first full paycheck at the new rate deposits. Not after you see how the new number feels. Before. If your net monthly pay increases by $900, redirect $650 to $720 of that increase to investment accounts immediately. Live on the remaining $180 to $250 as your lifestyle allowance from the raise. It feels like nothing because it is nothing. You have not yet experienced the $900 as yours. 3 months later, when hedonic adaptation would normally have constructed a new cost structure around the full increase, you are already automating at the higher rate, and the window has closed in your favor instead of against you. The second structural move is what financial planners call a savings rate audit, which sounds bureaucratic and is actually one of the most clarifying 30-minute exercises available. Take your last 12 months of total income, gross, all sources. Divide your total savings and investment contributions for the same period. 401k, IRA, brokerage, anything that went into a growing asset rather than a bill, by that income figure. That percentage is your savings rate. If it is below 15%, the specific number on your income does not matter as much as you think it does. A 10% savings rate on $130,000 is $13,000 per year. A 20% savings rate on $75,000 is $15,000 per year. The lower income, higher discipline household is outrunning the higher income, lower discipline one in absolute dollar terms, and the compounding gap between them widens every year. The savings rate is the lever. Income is just the input. The third move is to run the raise forward before you spend it. When your next compensation increase arrives, before you do anything with the money, open a compound interest calculator. There are free ones on every financial site, and type in the net monthly increase, 8% annual return, and 25 years. Look at the number that comes back. That number is not hypothetical. It is the precise cost in future retirement wealth of the decision to spend the raise instead of invest it. On a $600 per month net increase over 25 years at 8%, that number is $547,000. Put that figure somewhere visible. Let it compete with the apartment upgrade and the car lease and the ski trip before you decide, not after. The decision does not get harder when you see the alternative clearly. It gets easier. Kevin in Austin is going to get another raise this year. His manager has already mentioned it in their last 2 one-on-ones. The increase will likely land around $9,000, approximately $530 net per month. He will feel, briefly, the particular satisfaction of being recognized and rewarded for work he genuinely put in. He will start thinking, within a few weeks, about what the extra money makes possible. A better apartment has been on his mind for a year. The car he drives is getting old. His friends have been talking about Portugal in the fall. All of it is reasonable. None of it is wrong exactly. But somewhere between the direct deposit notification and the first month he lives inside the new number, a version of Kevin's financial future will quietly cease to exist. Not because of anything dramatic, not because of any single bad decision, but because the raise and the lifestyle expanded together the way they always have, and nobody ran the number before it happened. The other version of Kevin, the one who waits 30 days, redirects $400 of the increase automatically, and lets the rest feel like a modest upgrade, ends up with $340,000 more at 60. Same career, same raises, same life mostly. Just one decision made at the right.